Okay, well, why don't we just go ahead and introduce ourselves so people can know who we are since we got quite a few people in the room already. And then, or do you want to give a quick overview, Natalie, so people could know more or less what's happening?
Oh, yes. So we will be starting with introducing ourselves. And then we will start off the round of intros for each of the panelists. And then from there, we will be doing a thematic discussion about organizing in this area. And hopefully we will have time at the end for a Q&A section. So if you guys want to start submitting questions through text, we're going to start just noting them down, having them ready for the end of the panel.
Yeah, so we'll be
So
monitoring the chats for questions. So feel free to throw them in there in the chat.
exactly. So I'll just start us off with the intros. Hey everyone, I'm Natalie. Like I said, I'm the daughter of Central American migrants. I was born and raised in LA, living in Chicago now. I've spent years working with refugee support organizations, both in LA and Istanbul, Turkey. And I've had access to different immigration systems where I can see how we humanize or our countries humanize differently based on where you're from, based on status. And now I'm serving on the Green Party Latino caucus and still trying to bring that, immigrant justice as a focus to our caucus.
And
And
you've been
now,
in the Latinx caucus for like a while, right? You've been a part of that organization?
oh, since this year,
Since this year, okay. I feel like you just
yeah.
run it so well. Like you've been a part of it for quite some time.
No, no, no. It's just all that frustration we've had pent up. It's just ready to
Right?
come out.
I feel that. So, hola everybody. My name is Gabriel Jesse Martin Medina Ruiz, but you could call me Gabe. You know how we love our long last names. I got to say them all the time. I am the first elected Green for the Pajaro Valley School Board, beating out a Trump Republican incumbent in 2024. So, I'm really excited about that. I run on a platform of students first, lowering the voting age to 16. That way, students could have access to voting for their school board trustees, and also leveling the playing field for our undocumented and mixed status families who don't have that opportunity to vote. But if we give that to anybody who's 16 or older within our district, that's going to really improve civic engagement, not only within our school at the time, but afterwards too, because we don't really teach people how to go vote after once they turn 18. So that was something that I really ran on. And also reducing the school day to 4 days a week. That way, the fifth day is just pure mindfulness, activities, getting outside of those four walls, and being more social, because right now we know that social media has really impacted the way that we kind of communicate with each other. So that's a little bit about myself. But now for the fun part. So we're going to bring up our first person to introduce themselves. And who are we going to bring up first, Natalie?
Our first person is Seth Kaper-Dale. Seth, would
So
you like to join us?
yeah, so Seth is going to come up right now. And there he is. Let's go ahead and add spotlight. All right, there's Seth.
Thanks so much, Natalie and Gabe, and welcome everybody. I'm Seth Kaper-Dale. I ran for the gubernatorial seat with the Green Party here in New Jersey back in 2017. We're one of the two states that runs on the off year. So this is another gubernatorial year. And Virginia is, of course, the other state that's in the running right now. So it'll be an interesting place to pay attention to this time around. I'm also a pastor, and I've been a pastor for 24 years. And the reason I got involved with the Green Party is everything that I find in my faith tradition leads me to care about people and the planet and all the things that the Green Party always cares about. And so when I decided to run, it felt like that lined up like most truly with my values. So we have a refugee resettlement program here, anti-trafficking program, a program for unaccompanied minors, an immigration legal program, programs for all sorts of underserved people. But I like to think that it's not just a service organization, but it's a place where mutual aid really is believed in, and where oftentimes the people who are being served become tremendous servants to others that maybe are struggling with something else. So we've just been through our largest warehouse raid in the state of New Jersey that happened 3 miles from my church. the Alba Wine and Spirits Warehouse. So I've got a lot of very strong opinions about detention and deportation, and a history of having people in sanctuary for a very, very long time, 11 months, 9 people back in 2016. So I'm excited about the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Seth, for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. All right. Who do we got next?
Next on the list is Lily Benavides.
Let's go, Lily. All right. Here she is. Hola, Lily.
Okay, hello everyone. Hola, Gabriel. I live in New Jersey. I have been in this country for 36 years, from Colombia. I became an organizer and advocate for immigrant rights and human rights at some point back in 2003 when I moved to New Hampshire. Because the first thing I was invited to this group, and as I mentioned before, I didn't realize that so many people were going through the same struggles. I really, I knew I had so many things going on in my life as an immigrant, but I wasn't surrounded by people that had the same issues because I was living in a small white rich town, for saying it that way, right?
Yeah.
But then moving to another state and finding immigrants, mostly Latinos, that's when I started realizing all the things that were going on here. And I became an activist, and that ended up for me to become a state representative in New Hampshire. That was back in 2007. It was one of those things that, nobody thought that, it could happen. The immigrant rights group really pushed for it because they wanted someone inside, right? Trying to make some change. There were a lot of things going on at that moment. And one of the things that we did was propose a law to prohibit the police to act as ICE officers, immigration officers. I don't think was it idea. Because they were stopping people on the road, asking for documents. And some people were put in jail, but the judge let them go because they were accused of trespassing on the road, which was stupid. Even the judge was laughing at it. And but that was news everywhere, in the whole country, in the newspapers. And I don't know if some of you might remember Tancredo from Colorado. He was a congressman, and he went all the way to New Hampshire. Well, New Hampshire, all the candidates go there, right? So we could meet everyone. So I learned a lot from that. And that's how I started advocating for immigrant rights. And right now I collaborate with different groups. I go to rallies, I go to testify, I do translations or notarizations, I've done a few legal clinics with other people. So whatever I can do to help. During the pandemic, I was with a mutual aid group delivering food. The whole 2 years we were delivering food and goods for people and doing diaper drives and coat drives, everything that they needed. So it's a lot of work.
Awesome.
But once you start doing this, you will never stop.
Amen. Yep. Ain't that the truth? Well, gracias, Lily. We look forward to having more, hearing more from you and
Well,
asking
one
some
thing
questions.
we should mention, she forgot to share some good news.
What's the
She's
good
actually
news?
going to be running for the governor of New Jersey on the Green Party tickets.
What, Lily? You'll be ready for the governor?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Hey, that's awesome.
I was going to be the lieutenant governor, but the candidate we have, he has health issues and he had to resign. So I'm taking his place. And we are kind of running, because we need to get all the signatures all over again. So
Oh, man.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
we
thank you
have
for stepping up, Lily. That's awesome.
Exactly. We're lucky to have someone
Yeah,
like you.
I
Yes.
ran for Congress last year, and I ran for Board of Education before. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. Well, we're gonna ask you more about that for sure.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Gracias, Lily.
So,
All right, who's up next?
ooh, it looks like we have Mark Elbourno from North Carolina.
All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and get Mark up here. There he is. And let me go ahead and spotlight you real quick, Mark. There you are.
Well, hey, everybody. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Gabe, for your time and bringing everybody from east to west, north to south, together on this panel. We really appreciate it. My name is Mark Elbourno. I'm originally from Gaza, Palestine. Um, I'm the vice chair for North Carolina Green Party, and I'm also the co-chair for Abandon Biden, Abandon Harris campaign when we established it here in North Carolina. North Carolina was the third state to be to join this movement, and I've been green since. Yes, I'm new, but jumping and running and helping everybody from on the street, on the rally, within the Green Party, whether here in North Carolina or nationwide. I reach out to everybody and see what I can do to help improve and grow this movement to the next level. We really appreciate everybody here, and we appreciate everybody's running as a green, and hopefully we can flip some seat 2026 and in 2028. Thank you.
Yes, I feel like we're gonna flip a few seats
Oh, we
because
most definitely will.
yeah, there's that like hunger out there right
Yeah,
now.
keep finger crossed.
Yeah, we will.
Yes.
Awesome. And who do we got next up?
Speaking of running, we have Arshia Papari next, joining us from Texas. Arshia, if you could join us.
Yeah, and Arshia's at the state capitol right now, y'all. Like he's not playing around. So he's doing the job right now. There he is.
Howdy, y'all. Thank you so much, and apologies if there's any extra noise. I just tried to find a quiet spot in the Texas Capitol, so we're in our external rotunda. But glad to see everyone here. My name's Arshia Papari, and I'm running for state representative in Central Austin's House District 49. I'm also a youth candidate, just about to become 21. I am 20, just about to become 21 in a couple months. And will be running as one of the youngest candidates in state history for this position. So that is really cool. But in terms of the things I've been doing in relation to immigration, I've been a student organizer for the last 3 years, working on a variety of different issues from climate change to education and free speech, but also working on issues like Palestinian solidarity, along with heavy emphasis on immigration rights in the last year, as we've seen the continuous crackdowns and attacks against our immigrant community. And with that, we've been taking action on my own university campus at the University of Texas at Austin to try and get protections for our students and for our immigrant community here, whether it be staff or students as a whole, and also for the broader Austin community as well. So I've been doing a lot of that work, traveling also to Louisiana for some ice stuff too. So
man.
would love to help share my experiences from that, and looking forward to speaking with you all further.
By the way, you were getting a lot of kudos for that awesome mustache and that hat, man. So kudos to you. That's
Thank you
Texas
so
right
much.
there, man. Yeah. They really do it bigger in Texas, right? Like I don't even have a mustache like that. So
We sure do.
yeah, yeah, exactly. All righty. Thank you so much. We look forward to speaking with you more. All righty. Who do we got next?
Next on the list is Pooyan Ordoubadi from North
Pooyan.
Carolina.
Awesome. All right, Pooyan. I'm like, there he is. Okay, perfect.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? My name is Pooyan. I am an immigration attorney here in North Carolina. I've been practicing for 10 years. My focus is removal defense, so representing people in immigration court. I also do a lot of federal appellate work. I represented a bunch of the student protesters at UNC and NC State. And then I also I was on the legal team that represented the Green Party in their ballot access case in North Carolina. And I'm also one of the other co-chairs with Mark for Abandon Biden, Abandon Harris here in North Carolina.
Wow,
Awesome.
just a little
Thank
bit
you.
of everything, apparently.
Yeah, right. Well,
Thanks for
luckily,
joining me.
Kamala's not running for governor, which is good. So we're all happy about that.
We're
That's
safe for
right.
next year at the very least.
Oh, no more. Like, just stop. Like, thanks, Pooyan. Appreciate it. And Pooyan was the last edition, y'all. So Pooyan came on and is ready to go. So thank you for that. Who do you got next, Natalie?
Next on the list is Glow Vader.
Hello. There we
Hello,
go.
hello.
You are good to go, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Glow Vader. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. I'm an immigration paralegal, and I'm also a Brown Beret here in the North Texas area. And I would also like to pause to honor the native land that we're gathered on, all of us, and honor the indigenous people that were the original stewards of this land where we get to gather today, wherever we are in the country. Anyway, I'm also a member of the North Texas Brown Berets under the leadership of Commander Tony Rodriguez, who's also in the group. And basically since January, we have been dedicated nonstop to all of the just the devastating chaos that has been caused in our communities, in our families, in our just social structure by the policies of this administration. So I'm grateful to be a Brown Beret, and I'm very grateful to be in deportation defense right now. It just coincidentally happened that this is the case, and they're very overlapping. And so we get to help people on both sides, on the legal side and on the community side.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chloe. And if y'all don't know about the Brown Berets, we will get into that because that organization, if you from Cali, you know what's up. We got the autonomous chapter here in my area. So Brown Berets are being reactivated again, which is awesome. And we're seeing more chapters come up too, which is great. So thank you for your service and your work. And I do see that Tony's here too, right?
Great. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, let's bring Tony up.
Hello,
There he
everyone.
is.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries, man.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it got busy today, so it's running around. But yes, my name's Tony. I'm a Brown Beret. I'm the commander of the North Texas chapter. Been a Brown Beret for about 5 years. Lately, it's been all immigration, right? So especially here in Texas, we never stopped working, right? Because we have Abbott over here, so he continued, So last year we were a big part of the SB4, pushing back against that. So we led the big march here in our area. Alongside the ACLU, we spoke at the city councils and stuff, right? So we helped get a resolution passed in the city, right, against SB4. So we're helping with that. And like Hermana Glow said, this year it's been our ice watch, really. We called for that about a week before Trump, came into office. And it was just an explosion since then. It's been a lot of growth. But a lot of people connecting, right? Like that's something I'll have to say it here because it doesn't get said enough. That our community, we're just getting showed as like we're getting beat up, but that's not the whole story. There's a lot of pushback, right? It's a lot of unity being created. So there's a lot going on that isn't being told, right? It's a whole thing out here, and our Ice Watch is part of that. We cover 6 counties. With over about 80,000 people engaged. We monitor pretty much 24/7, but it's an ongoing monitoring system. Like, so it's not just where you don't see them. It's like, hey, it's clear over here, it's clear over there. And because of the early alerts, our main focus is just denying them the access to a bunch of people, right? So we know we can't stop it completely. It's hard, but we're trying to deny those $200-300, $200-300 people a day and stuff, right? So by us catching up 2-3 staging 2-3 cars, if we could catch them there, it's gonna be hard getting 50 out here, So it's been working. And another thing, it's something we didn't know was gonna happen was, man, it's became like a security blanket for people, or like a security thing, right? So they get on here and they check, and it minimizes the fear.
That's
So
right.
it's been crazy, but it's also been like you said, with Brown Berets, you see a lot of organizing going on. So I think we're doing the right steps to get past this.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you for
absolutely.
having me here.
Yes, thank you for being here and the work you're doing right now. And like I was telling people, like when the Chicano movement happened, right, back in the 70s, we had the Black Panthers, but we also had the Brown Berets. And this is something that we're even fighting for to get back into our school books, because we don't talk about the Brown Berets in schools, which is wild. So I'm that's one thing that we're trying to push for with our ethnic studies program, is learning about these different groups that we're organizing during that time. And it's a lot of work that has been done, and foundations that have been laid out. So thank you for that, and keeping La Causa alive, man. Like, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So I told y'all we have a good panelist coming up today. I told y'all. All righty. So who are we going to start with? Or what are we going to do first? We're going to ask a few questions, right?
Mm-hmm. So we're now entering the thematic discussion round. And I think just to set the stage, we should start with legal advocacy.
That's what I was thinking. All right.
Yeah. So if Pooyan, you can join us.
Sure.
Let's bring Pooyan, and then Glow. I'm pretty sure you'd love to be a part of that too.
That's right.
Let's
Yes.
bring up Glow. And also to the other panelists, if you want to hop in too, just let us know, and then we could bring you on as well to add on to the discussion.
So to start us off with the first question, we know that immigrant communities, especially students, activists, and the undocumented, are being watched. Whether it's surveillance, social media monitoring, or police collaboration, how do you see surveillance shaping the landscape of immigrant rights? What protections do people have, and what risks should organizers be aware of?
I guess I can go first, I guess. So when you're talking about like surveillance and monitoring social media and things, there's kind of like three different categories of immigrants that we kind of need to keep in mind. One is if you're an immigrant who's just traveling to the United States on some sort of a visa, you really don't have too many rights. They can deny you admission into the country based on their own discretion. They can set up whatever sort of systems they want to keep you out. Right now, we're seeing obviously a lot of criticism of Israel, criticism of the Trump administration as being some of the prominent reasons to deny people admission. Immigrants who are here, who are trying to adjust their status or gain some sort of legal status here, they are a bit more vulnerable when they show up to like USCIS for like interviews or those types of things. And we have obviously seen, specifically for pro-Palestine student activists, a lot of persecution, a lot of people who are there trying to strip their green cards and deny them green cards and those types of things. They have some significant protections, not at the immigration court level, but at the federal court level. And I'll talk a little bit about the way immigration court is later, because we hear immigration court and we think it's a court. It's actually not a court at all. We just call it a court for no real reason. We like threw robes on the judges in like the late 80s, but they're not really judges. If you are someone who is completely undocumented, you pretty much have very, very little protections in terms of free speech, in terms of being surveilled and those types of things. You're extremely, extremely vulnerable in those situations. If you're a student activist or an immigrant rights activist or any sort of activist, and you fall in a category where you have some status here, you are protected. You do have the right to free speech. the best thing that you can do is to get an attorney that handles not only immigration cases, but also federal court as well. You need to talk to an attorney, make sure that they have, habeas petitions prepared for you in case you do get detained. Because nothing's going to happen. Nothing good is really going to happen in immigration court. I can promise you that. So be really prepared. I know it can be kind of expensive, but there's always a lot of pro bono attorneys who are around. Now that Trump is kind of running our immigration, ATLU is actually doing things right now. So you can actually reach out to them now because they'll actually do things. Whereas before they weren't, they were kind of silent for a good 4 years for some reason. But yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of local nonprofits that are getting a lot of funding right now. So you're going to be able to find someone. Just reach out to other people who are in like the community activist circle, and you'll usually be able to find one or two attorneys that are going to take the case for free. In
That's
terms of
interesting.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in terms of like mass surveillance and those types of things, I mean, I think that's just the problem that we're all going
Yeah.
to be dealing with. There's a lot of, when I represented a lot of the UNC students who were arrested based on their advocacy for Palestine, a lot of them that had masks, and a lot of these Zionist organizations like Betar were like using a lot of facial recognition software to identify people even if they had masks on. So it's a pretty crazy time. The
Yeah.
good thing is that the government has actually lost a lot of these free speech cases, not at the immigration court level again, but at the federal level. So they seem to kind of have taken a step back from going after a lot of the student activists right now. That could change at any time. But yeah, I mean, get a lawyer for your immigration court, but more importantly, for your federal court as
Yeah.
well.
And I think that's like Flo, since you're like in the history of surveillance on groups like the Black Panthers, the Brown Berets is historic, right? And at a time with so much social media, like how are you all as a coalition, protecting against that while at the same time trying to defend the community? Because once they remove those that are protecting, it's going to be even harder for us to organize once we lose that.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Well, we're definitely as the Brown Berets on the front lines and forefront of marches and movements. We know that police are definitely surveilling us.
Yeah.
And, but I think that by putting this beret on, we've taken that that responsibility to our community, and it's important for me to know that the community is protected. A lot of what we do has to do with resources and teachings, and even the commander, Tony, every day on our Instagram, he gets on and he gives a daily report of what happened yesterday. So, and in that report, he always gives little tidbits of information, knowledge, hacks, and definitely, I think that there's a lot of people in our community that are very relaxed with their information. For instance, we have a lot of clients that when I'm signing them up, they have their email is their first name, last name, birth date
Oh, yeah.
at whatever. And so even things like that, it's just a part of kind of just teaching, right? And but yeah, again, like the attorney said, it's something that we're really all at risk for, especially people in the Palestine movement and movement for liberation.
Yeah. And since you're going out there, are you connecting with people like Pooyan, right? To go out there if there is something going on? Or how do you see yourself both balancing those out as an organizer and a lawyer, in trying to work with each other? Because I've seen us try working in silos, but it doesn't really work when we need everybody there in that moment to and I'm saying this because we just recently had a raid in one of our cannabis farms, and they were going after the people that were picking instead of the owners themselves, and they were questioning them, right? And we had our community there, and then we were trying to get a hold of lawyers as well, just because we don't always know, like, okay, if this official tells us something, do we take that as word? So I'm curious how you two work with each other, right? The lawyer and the organizer, and vice versa.
Right. Well, I think that that has been like the most beautiful and effective part of this just situation that we find ourselves in. Like the commander was saying earlier, well, he didn't say this, but I'll say it. He literally devotes he wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and starts monitoring, and he doesn't stop until it's he's done for the day and the city is safe and everybody's asleep. And a huge thanks to his wife for really holding down their family. He's a father, he's got a family, but he has taken this so um, uh, literally 5 a.m. to about midnight every day.
Mm.
Anyway, but uh, the community just has seen him as someone like a safe person to reach out to.
Yeah.
They have questions, abuse by ICE, or just my husband is detained, my father is detained. What do we do? And he immediately contacts me, and I get them on the line with an attorney immediately,
Mm.
as quickly as possible. He gives me reports that people are saying that there's abuses at this center facility, et cetera. So the next time that the attorney goes for an ICE check-in, we are looking out for that. We know what to look out for.
And is that information also helpful for you too, Pooyan, to have that information as they're on the ground just documenting those things?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a private attorney. I don't belong to any sort of nonprofit. But for example, like when the encampments were happening, I just went and gave a bunch of business cards and said, "Hey, if you get arrested, I'll represent you for free." That's pretty much all you have to do, and you'll get the calls eventually. Um, it's it's a bit more complicated. I'm in touch with a lot of the different activist groups, just because I've been around for a while. And my wife is also the co-chair of the Green Party in North Carolina, so I have some connections through her as well.
Mm.
But it's really tough. It's actually organizing right now is a little bit easier, even though things are a lot crazier. Because like when we had I think at the camps there was like 41 students. I was like, all right, I guess I'll
Mm.
represent 41 students. That's kind of a lot, but whatever. And then when you reach out to a lot of the nonprofits, the problem is that most of them get their funding from Democrats. So
Mm.
they're not going to push back against Biden's policies. So they declined to represent the students. So now it's a little bit easier because, like I said, the nonprofits are a little bit more engaged and they want to come out there because they also can get a lot of funding that way if their name is in the
Mm.
news. So reach out to them, make use of them. A lot of the activist groups need to connect with these groups because they have a lot of money. So, as a private attorney, I'm happy to do exactly what I can, but yeah, it's helpful to know people if you want to get this type of work.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, awesome. And then do we have another question for our panelists, Natalie?
We did, but I think we might have covered some of them. Maybe you guys can let us know, maybe double down on some things. So we are seeing rights that we once took for granted, eroded through precedent. And our question is, what are the most urgent legal threats facing immigrants today? And how do we fight back while we still can?
Either one. Yeah.
Sure, I can go first, I guess. So like the main issue right now is the use of detention as a means of trying to get people to step back from their legitimate claims. So I know everyone's been hearing a lot about detentions outside of immigration court. And just to give you like a really super quick rundown of that, there is a program in the United States called expedited removal, which means that you can get deported without any sort of due process, any hearing in front of an immigration judge. Previously, that was limited to areas within, I think, 50 miles of any border. But the Trump administration expanded that to anywhere in the entire country and anyone who's been here for less than 2 years. So if you come here, say last year, and you had your first immigration court date, What's happening is that the government attorneys are dismissing your case, and then as soon as you walk out, there's ICE agents waiting outside in the lobby of the courtroom to detain you. Now, you can still file your asylum claim. In some situations, you can file for bond, you can do other things, but the problem is that you're stuck in a really, really terrible detention center for the duration of your immigration case, which can last anywhere from 6 to 8 months. And even cases that we've won, the government can appeal it and then keep you in detention for even longer. So like another 3 to 4 months, even if you've won your case, right? A lot of my clients have just been like, just get me out here, get me out of here. I don't feel like doing this, I just want to go back home at this point, which they're going back to really dangerous situations as well. Can't really express to you how bad these detention facilities are. Everyone's heard of like the Alligator, Alcatraz, and those types of things. But the main thing to remember is that these are all federal, they're private prisons. So they're even allowed to charge people, to like make people work an entire day and give them $1 at the end of the day. So I have clients who literally work 2 days to be able to call someone. And that happens pretty much in most detention centers. I think there's one state like Washington State where they ruled that as basically slavery. So they overruled that. But in other situations, that's kind of what's going on. And the last thing is just to give people like a really, really quick rundown of an immigration court. If you think of like a criminal court, you have like a judge, a prosecutor, and the defendant, right? They're all independent parties. The judge and the prosecutor isn't going to tell the judge what to do. The judge isn't going to tell the prosecutor what to do. Every time an immigration attorney steps into immigration court, it's 2 against 1 because the judge serves at the discretion of the executive branch. They're not independent at all. So they're not a judge in that sense. So the executive branch can tell the judge what to do, and they can tell the chief counsel, which is the ICE prosecutor, what to do as well. They can even remove a judge in the middle of a case and replace him with another judge if they see the case isn't going well. If you appeal it to the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is just the appellate court, the attorney general can actually come in and reserve a decision for himself. So if he thinks it's a big case, he can just take it and just write down whatever he wants, and that's the law. So that's why it's really important for immigration attorneys to really hone their skills in federal court, because that's probably where you're going to win. There's no rights, there's no due process in immigration courts. Sorry, Gula, I didn't mean to take up that much of your time, but I wanted to get that out.
Thank you for that.
No, that's absolutely essential information. And I'm so sorry. That was fast. Can you repeat the question, please?
Of course. I said that we're seeing a lot of rights that we once took for granted erode. And so the question is, what are the most urgent legal threats, and how do we fight back while we still can?
Well, we've definitely seen rights get violated just in every way that you can think of. Just dismissive and abusive language towards the families. It's just a really even if it's not a rights violation, it's still just general harassment. One of the things I think is just most important to let people know is that yes, you do have rights, but at the same time, your rights will be violated. Okay. I know there was a big push with the red cards that said, at the beginning, we were like, just hand the red card over and they know that you want to talk to your attorney. ICE does not give a darn about your red card or about your rights or about, and we're seeing this more and more, how there's so much lawlessness because there's no accountability. We had a call yesterday of a girl whose father was trying to self-deport, and he didn't use the app. He just went to the border and he said, I'm here to do what you want. I'm here to go to Mexico. And they detained him. He's in detention now. They wouldn't let him self-deport. So just knowing that you have no rights, it is pretty critical, because they're going to do whatever they, the discretion, right, at every agent's discretion. And then also to add on to what the attorney was saying, yeah, these are all private prisons, just huge money-making operations. the clients go in there, they keep it absolutely freezing cold. If you have the luxury to have somebody that's putting money in your account, then you're able to afford a video call, or they also keep it so cold that some of our clients tell us that they're forced to just spend all their money on the little thin clothing that they sell at
Blankets
the
and stuff.
commissary,
Yeah.
right?
Ah.
Or at the like shirts and shirts and shirts and pants and pants. And they're all logoed. They're literally in there selling merch, basically. So it's just, I mean, the examples are endless.
Yeah. Oh man. And then I know Seth wanted to also weigh in too on this. Let me go ahead and bring him up. Hey Seth.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to add in that at least out here, one of the major changes is there was a time when we had to think about protecting folks who entered in certain ways, and then we could support other folks who came as refugees because they were safe in terms of the way they came in. And the Trump administration has completely undone that this time around. So, for example, 27,000 Haitians came to New Jersey over the last 2.5 years. All of them came through humanitarian parole. All of them came through something that was a quasi status. I'm frustrated with the Biden administration for the quasi-ness of things. And
Yeah.
at some point, we have to get serious about it was kind of like leading sheep to the slaughter to bring so many people in with such shaky grounds. On the other hand, the shock of 980,000 people on a CBP-1 humanitarian parole welcome, who came across the border with some sort of permission to be in here for now, and 580,000 Haitians or more who've now received letters saying get out now, and who are all subject in one way or another, or threatened to being subject one way or another to deportation. What it's meant for us is that the lines have fallen away. People who used to be like really excited about refugee resettlement, but maybe in the community had some concerns about wanting to get involved in certain types of immigrant pushback stuff. They now recognize that we're all one here, and that we need to join in our efforts to fight on behalf of everybody. So we are finding here that helping the community understand that anybody black or brown who came from another place is under serious threat right now. That the xenophobia that is caught up in all of this is real, and it's helped us in some ways with our pushback, like by the removal of some of the well, this is someone who came the right way, the wrong way. We've fallen away from all that stuff, and all of those. We're starting to anyway. In our community, to just find that we're all lining up for everybody, knowing that the key thing is to say that detention and deportation is just thoroughly wrong. I
Yeah.
remember the language of the executive order the first time around was the security of the interior, and that was the thing that led us to, that 1 week there was the Muslim ban, the wall, and the security of the interior. And the security of the interior was the least sexy in terms of like horrifically sexy of those three, right? Everybody talked about the ban, everybody talked about the wall. But I remember being most afraid of the security of the interior, which was a threat to hire 10,000 additional ICE troops to go into the middle of the country and suck out people who've been here for 27 years. And they didn't get to fully do that the first time around, but that's
they got it
exactly
this time. Yeah.
And Stephen Miller, who the fact that he's had 2 opportunities to do this and to get it fully perfected the second time is a horrifying reality.
We need to be given what Melania Trump was given, which is that's what needs to happen at this point, because she got in like through modeling, which was even controversial in itself. So they just gave it to her, and well, of course she's the president's wife, but still, it just shows proximity to power will get you things, right? It's exactly how she got it. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much. We're gonna move on to our next theme. These folks will be back up, y'all. So stay put still. All right. So thank you, Pooyan, and Glow and Seth. Let's give them a round of applause. They will be back. All right. And where are we moving to next?
Well, we were thinking that we should focus on the immigrant experience and bringing Lily and Mark to join us so they can tell
Let's
us a
do
little
it.
bit about their experience and getting involved in organizing.
Awesome. Here we go. And then Mark, we're bringing you right up. There you go. All right. So, and this is my question, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right, cool. So Lily and Mark. So, as the immigrants on this panel, right, and someone who's, you've all faced a lot of barriers within the US, such as status, language, and systemic biases. But you still stepped up and run for office or helped organize, build coalitions. So what was your light bulb moment when you said, I'm not gonna just let this happen anymore. I'm gonna push back and I'm gonna get involved. So what was that spark for you all to be involved, especially at this time right now where, a lot of our immigrant community members are under attack by this federal government?
Um, if you don't mind, I'll start here. Well, to be honest with you, the spark was what we see on the ground here is what we ran away from back home, from the Middle East. It's basically the oppression. It's basically their way or the highway. And honestly, everybody came here. It's the land of the free and the land of opportunity. It's the land actually where you build yourself. If you work hard, you make it. And this is what we all are doing here, working hard for ourselves, our family, our kids, our kids' future, and for the community as well, for the American dreams that everybody's looking for. Just yesterday, I got a text from a friend of mine. He's like, my pre-check TSA has been revoked, has been canceled. So they're not just hitting immigrants, they're also hitting US citizens as well and blocking them from doing what the normal US citizen is supposed to not even think about having an issue with, whether getting the pre-check or a global entry. Some of them are canceled. And when are we going to stop this? And this is actually when I saw it's happening, and I'm like, if I don't stand up, my kids will live the life I ran away from. And I don't want that to happen. And when I saw the Green Party, honestly, I didn't even know what the Green Party was until November. And then when I met Jill Stein, and I'm like, this is it. This is the movement everybody should be behind and building. And that's when I dropped everything. I dropped my work. I dropped everything. And I'm like, we have to hit the gas and keep going. Nothing should stop us. That's why I volunteered with Jill Stein campaign. I volunteered for the Abandon Harris campaign. I traveled most of the time out of my own pocket to make sure I'm speaking out. I'm Palestinian from Gaza. It's like when I see everybody is talking about Gaza, it's just like a secondhand talking. But it's my family. It is my grandparents' grave that was dug and thrown. I mean, no more houses, no more history. So this fight is my fight. And when I see everybody stepping up, I need to be in the leading position, even though I'm usually behind the scene. I don't like to be on the leading position, but if nobody else is stepping up, I have to step up. I have to protect my family. I have to protect my kids' future. And that's what sparked in my life. And I'm like, we have to do it. Everybody has to do it. Not just the Arab and Muslim, not just the Palestinian, the Latino, the Black, the gay. Everybody has to join the same fight. Well, I'm not fighting my fight. I'm fighting everybody's fight.
Oh man, Mark, thank
Exactly.
you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. Yeah. And I mean, me and Natalie, we talk about this even in ours, just in our Latinx caucus, is we need to be a part of this fight because we've already, a lot of our ancestors have gone through this, right? When the Spanish showed up on our shores and just eradicated our complete culture, took it from us, right? I tell folks like this isn't my mother tongue. My tongue's been colonized multiple times. Being in America, right? Spanish isn't even our language, right? It's Nahua, it's Triqui, it's these Mixteco, it's these other native languages. So I tell people from Mexico to Gaza, this is our fight. We all should be standing up against this. And I wish that there were more cameras around when the Spanish came so we could document it and show what they did to us. Um, you know, and that's exactly why I think decentralized media has given us this opportunity to finally weigh in and hold our government accountable. So thank you so much again, Mark, for sharing that. It was really touching. And Lily, how about your experience también coming from Colombia, being here and experiencing what you have? Like, you have so much fuerza. How did you get it?
Okay. I was reading the question. Okay. Oh, well, the first time that I ran, well, I was way younger than now, right? And I felt, um, when I saw all that was happening, I felt, energized to do that, and I didn't think about it for a second. It was a hard experience. It was hard. I was the only Latina there. I was treated so bad. I was discriminated. I was harassed. I mean, it was awful. That was terrible. Um, but then after that, I guess after I recovered from that, you know, I said, okay, this is it. This is not gonna happen to me anymore.
Yeah.
And I came back to New Jersey, right, and I started getting involved with groups, organizations, immigrant rights organizations. Um, and advocating for rights, and testifying, as I said before, and helping people, helping the community. One thing that really, really motivates me is to get to know the people. Um, when you have a chance to talk to them, to know them personally, to know their stories, it's just, it moves you to keep going. And the other thing that is very, very important for me is that I always have in my mind that the kids, not just my kids or my grandkids, but all the kids, what's gonna happen. There's something that I always say there. It might sound funny, but the first time ever that I watched Mad Max, the old movie,
Oh, the other, okay.
that was one thing that always stayed in my mind. And when I see all this happening, that comes to my mind. I'm like, no, we
Mhm.
can't do this. We can't let this happen. We need to keep fighting for the kids. We can't leave this war like that for them. Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you, Lily.
yeah.
Well, one thing, if you don't mind me
Yeah, go
adding
for it.
here, we keep talking about just the immigrant. This fight is not just for the immigrant, by the way.
Amen. Yep.
I was in the 40th anniversary for Martin Luther King, like a month ago or a couple of weeks ago. And when you hear the Black history struggle, you feel the same struggle that we have already. They've been working for 40 years and they're still struggling.
Yeah.
That means it's not affecting only immigrants. It's affecting Black, Latino, immigrant, it's affecting the human being itself.
Yeah.
So we really, really need to speak up. We really not just say we're uniting for one party. No, we're united for our cause, for our right in humanity. Because when I was listening to couple of the speakers, and I'm like, they've been fighting 40 years and they're still here, and I just started, I'm way behind. I need to learn from them. I need to learn from them and engage with them and build with them. Because what they're building is they're not building it for themselves. They're building it exactly for what I'm building here. It's for the future of our kids. And that's what everybody needs to understand. Everybody, oh, it's not my problem. It is everybody's problem. And we have to understand this. We have to unite for our cause, not for based on our skin color.
Yes.
Completely agree. Yes. Thank you, Mark. Wow. That was very powerful.
You need to give more speeches, Mark.
Exactly. Thank you so
And-
much.
And you know, Mark, too, like the intersectionality amongst all of us is so paralleled, but even our education system keeps us in so many silos from knowing all these informations, right? And making these connections about to what's happening in the greater world. So I think the more we advocate, and you know, the Green Party is starting to become a very diverse group of people, not only by the way we look, but by the way we think, by the way that we move and organize. So I think there's always room for people in the Green Party, no matter what shade you are, no matter how you think. We just want people who are humanity first. And I think all these stories are just echoing that same message. So thank you both for sharing. We will have you back up. And I know now we're going to move on to
Community organizing.
community organizing. Let's do that. So we're going to bring up Tony, Glow, and Seth as well for that.
Exactly.
All right, here we go. I see Glow. Let's go ahead and add to spotlight. Tony, you are up. And Seth. All right, there you go. Welcome back, Glow. All right, and do you want to start us off on our first question, Natalie?
Yes. We will have, I think, just one question for this group and then
Go to the next one.
yes. First one, or we'll see. We'll leave some for Q&A if there's room. So community defense isn't one size fits all. What does organizing for safety and survival look like in your region? And how have local conditions shaped the tactics you use to protect immigrant communities? Who wants to start us off?
I see Tony. There he goes.
Oh, he's ready.
Yeah, Tony ready.
Community defense. I guess I'll touch back a little bit on what Gabriel had said earlier about, silos and stuff. And I guess the way, I kind of came to understand it is that we just have different fronts, different responsibilities in this fight. So like for us as Brown Berets, we consider ourselves the teeth of the fight, right? We're the hard line, right? And it's something we always say, like when we go out and we speak, we tell people like, hey, we have many red flags and alarms ringing. Those are the people trying to tell you to change the way you're going, change direction. If you refuse to listen to them, then you will see the rise of Brown Berets. If you don't want that. So for us, it's the ball is in their court because they're trying to push things on us, right? We're really just trying to work, survive out here, right? We're not asking for anything but human decency, right? So if they're gonna stand in the way of that, then like for us, community defense, it's really when all these things like I believe Seth had said earlier, like all these things are failing people, right? So people, for us, it's very easy to organize right now because it was a very hard fight. Like when you have the Democrats, in charge, to us, they put our people to sleep, right? Because now we have to convince them that they need help, right? And then we could tell them how we can help and what we need to do. They're doing that work for us, right? So I don't have to tell them about white supremacy or the white nationalism and all that going on, right? I don't have to remind them of Operation Wetback and the similarities, right? It's right in their face. So for us, community defense is the failing of all of those systems that, since the civil rights have been, what we're seeing is the rollback of any advance we had since then, literally, right? Like it's like they picked that point and started rolling things back. So something I believe Seth said earlier was like, all we got was deferred and temporary, knowing Trump, and then we're coming with the promise of mass deportation. So yes, it was a setup. So for us, community defense is when all of that fails, and we have to rely on ourselves, and our community, our ICE Watch reflects that. So you won't see us asking anybody for any help, right? It's all about what we can do for ourselves. So for us, it's very much a community buildup, for them to understand that an organized community is a safe community. And that kind of, and I'll end this with this, sorry. It kind of touches back a little bit on the safety, right? When we go out there, the fact that we are connected with our community is a big layer of protection for us. So we're not out there powerless. We're out there representing a huge number of our community, a huge number of concerns, a big voice, right? So that adds, protection to us. Sorry, I know I'm cutting off.
No, you're good. Thank you for sharing that.
I'll weigh in, next on this one. One thing that I've been thinking a lot about is, who do I want to direct power at as an organized community? There's always a temptation to want to overthrow the powers that be and to go straight at them. And I'm way more furious at Democrats than I am at Republicans right now. Way more. I mean, Republicans are wolves, and Democrats are sheep, are wolves in sheepskin. But the sheepskin's gone now.
Yeah.
Palestine revealed that they're just wolves, and the failure to stand up for immigrants, at least in New Jersey and in many other places, the failure to have any spine shows that they're very weak and wimpy. So, some of the people that remind me the most are from Black and brown communities who say, we've always been screwed by the government. And you white people remember that now, and join us in recognizing that mutual aid is stronger than any sort of governmental thing anyway. And maybe in time, there's times when something is birthed, like the school lunch program from the Black Panthers, from the ground up, that then becomes some sort of national policy and becomes a good thing. But put all your energy into transforming the community, win the people. And so I think that's what I am learning from my own neighbors and the other coalitions that we're part of at either New Labor or Wind of the Spirit or Endelon or the other Latino-led groups, largely in and around Central and New Jersey and other parts of New Jersey, is to lean into getting to the people and convincing the people and protecting the people. And that's the only chance we have of maybe changing the heart of electeds, but we're not even really going to focus on that. The other beautiful part of starting with the people is that beauty is included in that. It's not just always about fighting. And if you lose beauty, you lose the desire to fight eventually, right? So at least when your goal is to convince other people who know right from wrong and who are just looking for ways to further collaborate and organize, you can keep beauty, you can keep prayer if that's part of your picture, you can keep art, you can keep music, you can keep potlucks, you can keep whatever, and those things that keep motivating and reminding you to be fully human while fighting, those are no small thing. Those are actually necessary. That's why I think the civil rights movement, when you're fighting every day in a strike, to go to the church every night and have songs together and hear testimonies of people's good work. That's what allows you to get up in the morning and fight again. And I think that leaning into that can't be stopped. Like, there's nothing Trump can do that can stop that, unless we sit at home at night and scroll through, the doom scrolling of looking at that as if that's the world that's been shaped. Instead, find time to be together and be shaped for beauty for the next day.
I love that.
Oh, that's
Man,
a
I'm
great
not super
reminder.
yeah, right?
Yes, I'm so guilty of some of those
I
things.
know, like,
Yeah.
oh. And I it's good to hear spiritual leaders like yourself say these things, because I know sometimes I get very dissuaded by spiritual leaders who want to reinforce some sort of status quo that doesn't really help people. And one of the things that I commend you for is just being so open and honest about your views on things. Because I feel like a lot of people sometimes just really hide behind what they think others want to hear or what would make them feel better. But I love the rawness from you, Tony, and Glow, and I think that's what organizers do. You have to bring that raw energy in, so people could see you for who you are, right? And I truly believe what Toni Morrison said: when people show you who you are, who they are, believe them, right? Don't wait till they're elected, like when they're telling us all these crazy things. And then, Glow, did you want to chime in as well?
I would love to.
Yes.
And really just to kind of emphasize two things that stood out from both Tony. What Tony touched on is that we did get things that were deferred and that were temporary. Right now, DACA is in peril, right? And yeah, it deferred. That means you're going to pay for that eventually, and that time is now. Temporary. Why not permanent? Why not permanent protective status? Why not permanent? Why can't it be PPS instead of TPS? Right. So these are just things that I think that are now really coming to the light when people are seeing like real life consequences. I've got neighbors 2 doors down who are from Venezuela, and there's a moving truck in front of their house right now. So it's definitely that. And then what Seth said also about beauty. The beautiful thing that has come from this this chaos, in my opinion, is there has been so much beauty that has come out from the outside in, people who have never lived in a state of fear. Even going to the store is dangerous, right? Going to drop off your kids, definitely being out on a construction site, on a roof or whatever is could be lethal, as we saw a couple of weeks ago. But and that has always been the case. But now what the community is experiencing is something kind of like similar, in my opinion, to a COVID lockdown, to how everybody was just on lockdown, can't leave the house, whether it's COVID, whether it's ICE, there's danger out there.
Yes.
So this being able to come together, as a community, through just I only speak for our area, and I'm sure this is happening in other communities where people are finding ways to look out for each other. If we can't be in the same space, if I can't just see you at down the street at the neighborhood store or whatever, we're gonna form a community one way or another, right? And that's where the beauty, in my opinion, comes in. And again, you can't bury a seed; it'll just pop up.
Yeah.
So both of those things I really resonated with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, no, thank you. Thank you all for sharing. I think this is great because, the way that we wanted to frame this was, okay, let's gather the community organizers, because now we want to talk to those who are actually running for electoral politics and get their stance on how they could work with us, right? Because the
Right.
biggest thing that those of us who are green have is the coalition that we're a part of. And a lot of the time, it's not just the Green Party, right? Like I brought in Brown Berets because I was a part of that organization, the Revolunas, which is like our mujeres in the Brown Berets. We call them Revolunas because they're like, we all get a name too, which was dope. So we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our electoral discussion, and then we're gonna bring everybody back for final thoughts. So thank you all for sharing. And I know in the chats, feel free to answer some questions as well. A few people were asking about some of the things that were said, the Brown Berets and all that good stuff. And I saw some information sharing, so that was awesome. All right,
Thank you.
thank you all. Alrighty, so next up, which is going to be our final theme, is going to be electoral strategy and party building. We're going to bring up Mark, Arshia, and Lily into this. And Arshia, he's probably finding that good fight right now out there in Texas. Oh, there he is. Okay, cool. Alrighty, let's go ahead and spotlight you. All right. And
I
then
think we're missing Mark.
we're missing Mark, right? Yeah. Oh, there he goes. I saw him. There he is. And we'll spotlight you. Oops. Okay, there you go, Mark. Alrighty, as we are Green Party, right? So third parties often get boxed into protest roles, right? So how do we change the narrative and build the Green Party as a serious vehicle for movement demands, especially on immigration justice and anti-imperialism and radical equity? So I'm very curious. And let's start with Texas over here because I'm very curious.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely one of the bigger questions that we face as a group here, and I think really that comes down to trying to make sure that our message is one of both radical solidarity, being there with the folks at the grassroots, as we are always portrayed, of being a protest-centered party, right? That is the sort of niche that we have. But I think to grow out of that niche, we also have to both understand that, take leadership in that corner, and move into larger areas as well. Move into things where we look at building stronger, more robust policies for when we get into office, for when we do get elected, to be able to implement those things. And I think this comes down to a discussion also where I was having with our state party, I believe yesterday, where we were discussing moving from not necessarily having all of these wonderful grand scheme things and going down to smaller levels of policies that we can implement, things that we know are in need for our constituencies and can be solved easily and effectively by anyone. And that could be someone like ourselves in that spot. And if we champion enough of those policies, if we win enough of those policies, then I believe eventually we'll also be able to come up to those larger stands, larger fights, and duke it out to have systemic change as a whole. But I think it starts by chipping away at the smaller policies, smaller issues in our communities and in our neighborhoods to get the ball rolling, to become more of a party that is seriously taken by the rest of our political class.
Yes, and I think just even showing yourself as a young green running is also role modeling, right, for that next generation. Because I know it when we don't see ourselves, sometimes we feel like we probably don't belong there. But if we see young people, if we see ourselves reflected in our politics, in the people we're electing, I think that's only going to help our party more. And I think you're a great role model. You're not even 21 yet, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Gabe, you're saying next generation, but you're talking about his generation.
His generation, yeah,
You're
yeah.
inspiring his peers to join, like step up, run for office.
Yeah, because Gen Z and then Gen Alpha Beta, right? And
Yeah.
those are the people that you're inspiring. We had the boomers, which were cool. Like I got yelled at a lot by them, but that's a whole different story we'll get
No,
into.
he's inspiring me too as a millennial. I appreciate him for stepping up.
Oh yeah, no, of course, and we need more. And this is the part that the Dems are scared of, right? This young energy that's coming up, and they don't like the fact that it's not being channeled towards them; it's being channeled against them. So keep it up, man. And if you win, that hat better get twice as big. Okay, that's the promise you got to make us.
Absolutely, we're gonna rock that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Lily or Mark, do you want to chime in on the question as well?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, Lily, go ahead.
Go ahead, Lily.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're
Okay.
fine.
Oh wow, yeah. This is great. Just seeing him so young and running. It's awesome. I like that. That's what we need to do. We need to push these kids to run for office. I mean, anyone, everybody. I mean, you know what I think that just don't anyone that would like to run and make a change and do something, like we need people inside. We need people inside. We need lots of people inside. And just don't think for a minute that you cannot do it, that you're not you don't qualify for that, any of that, none of that, that's what democracy is. And doesn't matter. And I'm telling you about me. I don't I don't have a degree, and I know that people talks about that. And most of the things that I know that I have learned, I'm self-taught. I read a lot. I join groups. I listen, and I have learned a lot, and I have learned from great people that have done all the work before me. So you have to be teachable, and you can do it. And it doesn't matter if you don't have if you're not a lawyer or I don't know, something else. You don't have to. You just the willing to do it and work for the people, because that's what we need. Yeah.
Yes. And,
Thank
and I love that you said that too. Like I see a lot of people who say, I don't have a BA, I don't have a I'm like, you don't need that. You don't I know such smart people who don't need those things because they're street smart, and that's what we need.
Well, we
Right?
also
You
need
could
people with degrees that, maybe aren't all there too, and you're like, I could do with a little less of you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
if we see the ones that are there that have all kinds of titles and stuff, what are they doing? You know?
Yeah, you can have as many titles as you want, but I want to know what actions have you done with those titles, right, to
Because
better
they
the
work for the
community.
money. They work for the money,
Oh,
not
we
for
know
the
that. Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. And then what
Yeah.
about you, Mark?
Well, actually, today's movement is not. It's actually a movement with two items: young generations and women.
Yes.
Those are the ones moving this movement. With all respect to everybody else, go to the city council. Who speaks in the city council? Majority of them women. Go to the rally, to the protest. Who's running? Who's organizing? It's the young generations that actually building this and moving. Students who kicked actually everybody and moved the entire country and make them actually stand up for them. It's the students, it's the young generation, and it's the women. We cannot take this away from them. This is something they earned it, and we have to stand for them and actually give your hat. But if I had one, I would remove my hat for them. Just we have to support them, and supporting them is basically let them be the way they want. We might be scared, the boomer generation say, no, you can't do that. You know what? This generation, they're fearless. They don't care. And this is what's scaring the system. This duopoly is scaring them. They try to block TikTok because they're speaking there. They're trying to arrest them in their university because they're speaking there. It is their movement. And we're here just trying to say, go for it. We're by your side. We're not behind you. We're by your side. We're here to help you. That's why when I built the Abandon Biden campaign here in North Carolina, I told them we need, number one, in our leadership, we need an attorney. That's why I got Pooyan.
Pooyan, yeah.
And then we need a student organization. We need two of them. And we need social media expert. And we need somebody to speak to the faith people. So I got those, and guess what? We made a huge change in North Carolina Democrat primaries. So, I mean, majority of them actually, 3 out of 5 female, women, girls, young generation, activists, they run and make a change. Those who made a change, the rest of the men standing by, waiting for them to tell us what to do, because they know what they want. It's not us to tell them what to do. Women can make a decision. Student and young generation will make their own future the way they want it. We need to sit back and see how they shape this generation, this country, because it is theirs the same way as it's ours. Let them handle it, and we will be in good hands.
Yes.
Oh, what
Yeah,
a
Mark needs a book deal, y'all. Like,
Yes, he does.
yeah, right? It's so good.
Let's
Just
make
do
him the
like
head of fundraising and just put him out
just
there.
put him out there, man. No, what he's saying is right. Like students begin movement. If you think about the Chicano movement, that was done by students who were tired of not seeing themselves in their education and being given scraps from the more affluent schools when they would buy new furniture and right and not seeing themselves. So they're the ones that started the movement, which grew into the Chicano movement because of those students, right? Even if we think about in the early in the 50s 30s to 50s, right, women were at the forefront for movements in terms of labor, right? They were the ones that were being impacted. They weren't getting paid, right? But yet they were the first ones on the line to make sure that not only to defend their rights, but to make sure people were fed and taken care of. And that's why women are always needed in every single movement. And that's why a lot of them lead as well. So I thank you for putting that in such an elegant way, Mark. Like, I love that.
I
All
think
right.
that was also a strong note to end on.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think we should maybe switch over to the Q&A and see what the audience has to ask our panelists.
Let's
But
do that. So we're gonna go ahead, bring everybody back up.
thank you guys once again.
Yeah, y'all were awesome. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you both. It's been great. You guys
It's
are
been
great
great.
hosts.
It's been great having you guys. This has been a fun discussion, a great discussion.
Yeah, we're only good hosts because there's great panelists. That's how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of the insights that we have to work with. I'm gonna be reflecting a lot after this.
Yeah, and I believe this will be available to watch later on, from my understanding. If somebody in the chat wants to correct me on that. But you will have access to it so that way you could share, get clips, and share that because the one thing that we have right now is the decentralized media. So if we could get things like these discussions and put it out there to the bigger world to see how the Green Party is tackling these discussions, I think that's going to be awesome. So let's see. So let's ask the general question for everybody, and then if we have time, we can do the individual ones. How about that?
Let's do that.
Okay, cool. And then if you want to start it off, and I'll start looking through the chat for questions.
Okay. So we just thought this would be a nice way for you to share your wisdom with all of us. But knowing what you know now, in just a minute or two, what wisdom would you share with your younger self?
Arshia,
wants
you
to
could go
start us
back to
off?
when you were very young for this question.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, 15, 14, you got it.
I think Seth will be heading off in a few minutes, so maybe we can have him start us off.
Yeah, we can start with Seth.
About just say it one more time. If I could tell my younger self something, what would it be?
Yes, knowing what you know now.
I mean, most definitely when it comes to the political scenario, I think I used to buy the lie years ago that there's only two options and that, the lesser of two evils. And in the meantime, I have accepted for way too long very, very thorough and insidious evil that it comes in the form of neoliberalism. And the fact that I didn't understand that for as long as I did is so damaging. I'll say right now that I don't always think the best candidate is the Green Party candidate. I think that often it is, but sometimes there's somebody running as an independent who's absolutely the one to vote for. And I think being part of the Green Party, one of the beauties of it is it's a place where I can say stuff like that and where I can encourage the party to get behind somebody who's standing for values, because the values seem to matter more than party affiliation, and that's what makes the party the party. So for so many reasons, just not selling out to that is important. I even have people now who continue to tell me, well, Seth, wouldn't we be better with Harris and not Trump? And they wanted to say that. And I just keep saying, it was Democrats who annihilated Palestinian children. It was Democrats that did that. And it's the reason we're in this mess is because of Democrats and the military industrial mess that we have. This you can't let them off the hook. So anyway, that's what I would tell my younger self. Don't think that there's only two options.
Oof, thank you.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you, thank you. We haven't heard from Pooyan in a while, so
Yeah.
you can lead us next.
What would I tell myself if I was younger? Maybe go to medical school instead of law school. No, I'm just joking. No, I mean, I think, kind of following up on what Seth was saying, I kind of abandoned the Democratic Party, I would say maybe 2 election cycles ago, and that was probably 3 election cycles too late. I think that the whole lesser of two evils has always been kind of something that has been ingrained in my mind for so long. And I feel like I wasted a lot of time not kind of focusing more on um kind of advocacy work and those things. I worked in IT before I went to law school. I just, kind of just put my head down trying to make ends meet and provide for my family and those things. But I just wish I was involved in this work at a much, much earlier age, unfortunately.
But you're here now, so
You're here now,
thank
exactly.
you.
That's true.
We appreciate you.
Just live vicariously through Arshia. Like, just do that. Yeah.
I think he's Iranian too, actually, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
is.
He is.
He is. Oh, okay, there we go.
Damn, yes, salam.
Salam, Arshia Jun.
Um,
Uh-oh, did you freeze on us? Oh, there you
Are
go,
y'all
Arshia.
still
You're
there?
back.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, it might be the internet. Yes, I am Iranian, so wonderful to meet you, Pooyan, as well. I am gonna have to leave pretty soon because my phone is pretty much dying. But I'd say, well, I don't have much yet to regret, and hopefully not ever. But I'd say probably a few thoughts I've had are just you're never too young or too old to do anything. I think that's really a spirit that I bring into the work that I've done. I got started in my political work when I was early into my 17 years, and I just went full steam ahead. Started doing testimony stuff, started doing lobbying stuff, started writing bills, trying to lobby for bills, and all of that stuff to build up some progressive experience. I think if I were to advise anyone else, is just go for what you're passionate about, go for what you want to do, what you want to do to help people and make change. And if you push hard enough on that, you will get to the place you want to be. And I think for me, that's worked out pretty well. Somewhat working on the campaign that I am right now and trying to share more about our party and our ambitions for policy change and systemic reform. And I think that is something where we can all take a little bit of furthered bravery in our lives to take that next step, do that thing that is odd and weird or awkward or a bit embarrassing at first, but I'm sure everyone will get used to it with time. And I truly think that everyone will do great things if they put their heart and mind to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we hope your phone doesn't die on us. Awesome. And let's go next to Glow.
Thank you. I think one thing that I would have told my younger self is that my voice actually mattered. I know a lot of people are very dismissive of young voices, and the young person that we have here that's broadcasting from the rotunda,
Yeah.
like, you know, our youth is so, so powerful. And it made me think that also, if you go even back to childhood, kids are like the biggest advocates of justice, because if you have two kids, try giving one some candy and one nothing, and they're like, hey, that's not fair. So they're
Yes.
very interested in fairness and justice, just as an instinct, you know, everything should be equitable and equal. So I think that's what I would have told myself, that number one. And number two, I really wish I would have learned sooner about Palestine and the
Yes.
Palestinian struggle. I came into that later in life. But it's been such a gift to me to have so many Palestinian clients. I always keep a kafia on the back of my chair. This right here is something
Yeah.
that I was gifted by a Palestinian client.
Yes.
And I haven't taken it off since they gave it to me. One of our clients that was pretty, it became a very notable case, and I want to say her name. Her name is Ward Sahik. Um, and she came here with her family from Palestine as an 8-year-old. This is her picture.
Hmm.
Oh.
She came from Palestine with her family. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
From Palestine with her family as an 8-year-old, and they filed for asylum, and her asylum was denied. And they remained here because what are you going to do? Go back to that horrible place that that they were run out of? So fast forward, she was a model student, model kid, built up a beautiful photography business, built up a wedding photography business, and she was really popular and had her own business. And ironically, during her own wedding, she got married. They went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and on their way back from her honeymoon, she was detained by ICE. And she remained in the Valley Detention Center for many, many months. And we could not get her out because she was stateless. And it was very just traumatic for the family, not knowing what was going to happen. Were they going to deport her to a third country? Was it indefinite? So it was like an administrative just black hole that we couldn't get her out. And just finally, she came out in I think last month. Alhamdulillah. So, but I hope you'll follow her story. Her name is Ward. And now she advocates for all of the other women that were in detention with her from every single country. So I hope you follow her story and her journey. But
Thank
she's
you.
back out with her husband now.
Sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Free Palestine.
Yes.
Palestine.
Viva Palestina.
Viva Palestina.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tony?
Yeah, sorry, I had to turn my
Oh, you're
video off.
good.
It overheats my phone sometimes.
Does that?
Sorry.
All that ice watching.
Yeah, no, I think it's too much. So, but if I could go back, tell myself something, be to be confident. It's something I run across a lot just in organizing. When we get new members in, it's really the confidence building. It's like I feel like they already have the ideas, stuff you think about. It's why you joined. So we try to encourage stuff that builds confidence, because I think once you have that, you could like be who you really are, right? So it's already stuff you have within you. So that's something I would tell myself if I was younger, tell my younger self to be confident. It's okay to read books.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide that,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, be confident. You're definitely worth it. To value yourself, right? Value yourself, love yourself, right? So it's something that, growing up, I grew up in LA and stuff, some of the more rougher neighborhoods. Something I noticed a lot, was we had a lot of lack of self-confidence or self-worth. It's why we're so easily threw our lives away, right? It's like, so I tell myself your life has value, you know, you have a purpose, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I'd say. Be confident. And I think I tell that whoever's in this group, if you're lacking some, you know, be confident, you know, speak up. It's hard at first. Your voice does shake and you're nervous and you're hyperventilating right before. But what I've noticed is as soon as you start, your passion takes over. What led you there takes over. And then it's a powerful speech after that. It's just getting started.
Yeah, it's the hard part.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tony.
Yes.
Wow, but you see as the common theme, everyone's saying just break past those mental barriers. You can do it.
Yes. And Lily?
Yes. Two things that I would tell myself if I would, if I could go back. One is to believe in myself, and the second one, it might sound ridiculous. I would probably tell myself at 20 years old not to leave my country. Yeah.
Yes.
If other people stay there and could have done it, I could have done it too, right? And at some point, I believe on that American dream that I didn't know anything about it, right? And when I came here, it was a shock. Okay, for the first 4 or 5 years, that was a harsh reality, that hits you in the face when everything is so different. Everything is like you are in another planet, right? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's so hard. So, but then when you start getting older, you want to go back to your country. That doesn't go away from you. I will
Yep.
stay there. So, yeah, that. Thank
Thank you for sharing that, Lily. That
you.
was a statement right there.
Nice.
Oh man. And then Mark, of course, we had to end with those powerful words, Mark. What would you tell your younger self?
The sky is the limit.
Yes.
Never give up. Make sure you build phases for every goal that you have. It's okay if you can't make it. I mean, everybody fails. As long as you stand up and keep going, this is the most important thing. The system has failed us. We have to build it. We have to make sure we're together building it. Again, don't be selfish. You're not building it for yourself. You're building it for the future of this country. And we can do it, and we will do it under the Green Party.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all so much. Round of applause to y'all for
You guys
being here, for sharing all your knowledge and stories. And just for you, Natalie, what would you tell your younger self before we head out?
Ooh, wow. I didn't expect for it to be thrown back at
Twister. Yeah.
them. Hmm. If you're ready, I'll let you take it first, and then you can give me some thinking time.
Okay. I would tell my younger self to always hold on to your imagination, because I feel like the moment I let that go was the moment that I let others fill in that void for me. So, I was a creative type. I was that kid that, my abuelita would buy me cars. I'd like paper and pencils, right? Because I like drawing. And I think as soon as I gave in to what other people thought I should be like and lost my imagination, that's when I started not believing in who I was. So that's what I like telling the students. Like, the most powerful thing you have is your imagination, and don't let anybody change that. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Okay, I like that. And I would say, sometimes I was told as a first generation, right, as a kid of immigrants, you go as far as you can, right? You do bachelor's and then you do master's. And sometimes I got stuck in this journey of trying to find more degrees or credentials, but like I lost how to translate my passion into the real world. And I like just like the common theme of don't let these ideas like, oh, you're not enough for this, you're not charming enough, you're not material for this. If you're passionate about something, it will show up. People, you will create a community and people will support you. So just keep doing what you believe in, and we're gonna just continue showing up for each other.
Yes. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to the people who joined in to listen to our amazing panelists, and to the people behind the scenes organizing, y'all. Allie, Tom, the Green Party, thank you for bringing us together in this moment. And with that, y'all have a good night. Stay safe, stay
night, everyone.
sane, stay green, y'all.
It was
All
good
right.
having you guys.